What is up, everybody? My name is BobaTalks and welcome to this Flash Mystery Girl theory discussion video. So in this video we are, well, as I just said, we're going over plenty of theories to do with this character coming on the screen right now, which many of you may know as Mystery Girl, Dawn Allen, freaking Jenny Ognotz, freaking Reverse Flash, freaking Daniel West Reverse Flash. The list goes on. Now, I don't take straight credit from any of these theories. Some of them are obvious enough for yourself. For example, like the Dawn Allen one is something anyone could come up with, but some of these theories I didn't come up with, so just putting it out there. I do not take credit for all of these. I'm just discussing them and I'm just saying what I think of each one. But I would love for you guys to discuss in the comment section down below who you think it is. And it's quite interesting as well because I think, and I can't confirm this, but executive producer Todd Helbing says that fans haven't guessed the identity of the mystery girl correctly. Now, even if that is true and the executive producer did say that, I don't take any merit from that statement from the executive producer. I think, or maybe he is kind of telling the truth, but the words are correctly. I want to highlight the correctly part of that statement because he's not saying fans haven't guessed the identity of the mystery girl, you know, at all. He says they haven't done it correctly. So we might be onto something with all of these theories. But for example, I don't know if he's heard of the latest one, but this is an example, like the Reverse Flash or like Daniel West storyline, but gender flipped. So that might be the correct one for out of all of these ones, which he may not have heard yet. But I don't know. Take that as you will. But anyway, guys, if you go on to enjoy this video, do give it a like, as I really appreciate every last one of your likes. It means the world to me. And also, if you're new to this channel, why not subscribe for more Flash videos and DC TV Arrowverse content just like this? Okay, so the first identity for this mystery girl I'm going to discuss is Dawn Allen. Now, Dawn Allen is one of the Tornado twins, and she's Barry and Iris's daughter from like the 31st century, I believe. So this was the most popular theory, and to be honest, a lot of us across the videos, or whether we're discussing it on Reddit or whatever, wherever we are, reference her as Dawn Allen or Mystery Girl, because Dawn Allen was one of the most popular theories. Now, this has been a theory of mine which I have liked, and I think some of the strongest evidence was mainly, you know, when she met Barry at the wedding. She was very, very eager to meet him, very friendly, and it was kind of borderline creepy, but considering, you know, you've never met this person before, yet they're like really fanning out about you, or just really excited to meet you. So on top of that, obviously she's been bumping into every member of Team Flash apart from Iris, Joe, Cecile, which is another interesting thing which I want to talk about later. And also another piece of evidence, and I'm sorry if I'm leaving any other evidences out of, you know, her being Barry and Iris's daughter, is her writing down the Speed Force symbols in the journal, quote-unquote Speed Force symbols. But this could mean anything, or she could be just from the future where they write shit like this down all the time. But that, what do I think this theory? I was strong about it, but now I'm not so sure, and I think it's because of the twist they did at the end of, I think it was last episode, where she gave that sinister, menacing, or just like very opposite look to what she normally gives. But I don't know what to give this theory. I don't think I'm going to rate it, but like, I'm not so sure about Dawn Allen. As for XS or Jenny Ognotz, I don't have much to say here because it's kind of what I said. The evidence supporting it could be similar. She wants to meet her grandfather. She is, you know, XS or Jenny Ognotz in the comics is the daughter of Dawn Allen. So it's basically the same stuff I just said, but everything kind of got taken away when she was just looking a bit like evil in the last episode. But yeah, all the evidence still applies in terms of her just fanning out a little bit, wanting to meet, maybe, you know a little bit more about her father and what she did, and what he did back in his day as the Flash, sorry, the grandfather. So yeah, as for XS or Jenny, I really don't know. It definitely fits in terms of looks. Same with Dawn Allen, but I don't think that is right either, necessarily. Now, the next two theories kind of tie in with the really friendliness or fanning out of Barry Allen, because one of the other theories out there is that, not Jenny, this mystery girl could just be a time traveler way, way, way from the future, you know, when the Flash Museum is around, because we're no way near the Flash Museum right now. And, you know, that is a thing one day because we saw it in the predictions of the Speed Force, plus it's a very canonical thing in the comics. So she could just be a time traveler from the future, working in the Flash Museum, and she's a huge fan of the Flash, and she's just gone back in time. She wanted to meet Barry Allen at his wedding. She's also wanted to meet the people he worked with, like, you know, Caitlin Snow, Cisco Ramon, Ralph Dibny, freaking everyone like that, Harry. And to add merit to that, she's been writing it down in a journal, and you could argue maybe that is, you know, a part of the language in the future. And you know, I don't know. As for this theory, I quite like it because it explains, you know, the fanning out thing. However, I don't think this is it. It's a really cool theory, though. I really like it because it explains a few things. But yeah, again, the thing that punches this down for me is the look that she gave, and that look they did deliberately to do this to people like us makes me think, hang on a minute, you know, there's more to her than meets the eye. And this time traveler thing, I don't see really where it would have a place in the storyline. Maybe that it would, because freaking I'm not one of the writers and they could have thought of something really trippy and surprising, but I don't think it's that. Okay, so now this theory I really like. I don't necessarily think it's true, but I really like it because it surrounds one of my most favorite villains of all time in my comic bookness that I enjoy, and on the one of the Flash villains is just the Reverse Flash. The Reverse Flash, but early, like an early Reverse Flash. Now, if you're familiar or not familiar with the Reverse Flash storyline, you may or may not know that the Reverse Flash at the very beginning was freaking obsessed with Barry Allen. Now, I really recommend going back to read that, or maybe even reading the Rebirth, kind of rebooted version. Now everyone is coming up with the theory, and especially with what Eobard Thawne, when the Crisis on Earth X crossover was about, he said, I wonder what face I'll be wearing next time I meet you, Flash. Now, I think this theory is kind of out there in terms of him, you know, that version of the Reverse Flash, like the future version, you know, in terms of the Crisis on Earth X1 escaping and then coming back to do all this acting and, you know, using maybe the face changer technology to look like Dawn, going around meeting everyone. It doesn't add up. Writing in the journal, it just doesn't add up necessarily. He would know exactly where to go because this is the Wells after season 1, so he probably would know the points in time, you know, where to go, and he's from the future anyway. But I just don't think it adds up for the reasons I've already said. Him doing all these things is a bit ridiculous. However, I don't necessarily discredit this theory because I don't think it's the future version of the Reverse Flash that Barry let go in Crisis on Earth X, but I still think there may be merit to what that Reverse Flash at that current time said. Like, I wonder what face I'll be wearing next time I meet you, Flash. Doesn't mean that he went in a different face. It means that he may have already done this before as this mystery girl ages ago, but that version of Eobard who Barry let go had already done all this stuff, if that makes sense. But it hasn't quite caught up with Barry because he's not at that point in time. Well, he is now in these episodes, now meeting this mystery girl. Does that make any sense to you guys? That's my twist on the theory. I honestly don't know if anyone else has said that out there. As I said, the Reverse Flash, in terms of what he said, I don't think he then went and got the face, you know, or changed his, you know, sex basically, to be that eccentric and try and infiltrate Team Flash or do whatever this mystery girl is doing. He just may have done this a few times in his past, actually changed his face with Barry before, but now it's actually only just coming about because, you know, he did it at this point in time, and now we're at season 4, so here it is. But then again, another twist on this theory is that it generally is the early version of the Reverse Flash who was obsessed with Barry Allen, and he went to the future to check out Barry Allen, but at the end of the day, why would he do that in disguise as a female, like this lady? Like, it doesn't make any sense. If they were going to do that story, then, you know, he would just go, I don't know, try and meet the Flash like he did in the comics as his actual self. But then again, what just throws out that theory of what I literally just spoke of is that sinister look at the end of the episode. But I still think the other theory is more likely that it, you know, is an evil version, the Reverse Flash, who deliberately has gone to meet Barry at this point in time, just with a different face, and the future version of that character, who we met at Crisis on Earth X, knew exactly what was going on, but didn't know which one of his faces he was going to meet Barry with, you know, the next time, because he's done it so many times before, potentially. One of the other theories is one of the characters in Rebirth, which is Mina. She's a speedster with the whole lightning storm jazz that happened. I don't really want to go too in depth for this theory because it is possible it is, they could, like, you know, do a loose adaptation, and they, you know, they have been implementing tiny little things from Rebirth, like that lightning storm. You could argue that she could be related to that, or has come, you know, with this, but then again, you know, the symbols, I don't know. I don't think there's too much merit to Mina, personally. I would think it would be so much more freaking interesting if it was one of the other theories I've already mentioned, but also the other ones that I will mention in this video. Not exactly how I say it, but maybe, you know, with an insanely more cool twist that the writers have thought of. But Mina, I don't know, man. I don't think that's necessarily it. The next theory is another Reverse Flash theory, and that is Daniel West, but with a gender swap. And I quite like that theory, because, like, why not? However, I don't know how they would explain it on the show. I think it would be a very, 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 very loose adaptation of the Daniel West Reverse Flash storyline, because what would have made... It kind of makes sense with that sinister look she gave, and she could just, you know, be effing with the Flash and, you know, learning about the team, and she's come back in time or whatever. I don't know. And it works because, you know, why not gender swap? That would make it a little bit of a twist, and maybe some fans who have read that storyline and who doesn't look into it as much of us might be like, oh my god, I read that comic and they're doing this, but she's a different sex, you know? However, they would have to do a really, really loose adaptation, because I don't think they would do the exact same storyline as they did in the comics in the show. For example, Iris, fair enough, like, they could do the Iris West thing, since it would be, you know, she would be his younger sister, but, you know, in the comics to the younger brother. That makes sense, but would, you know, Joe really be a dick to her his whole life? And would Cecile die? I can imagine Cecile dying. I really could imagine that. So they could do that those parts of the storyline, but I can't imagine the thing, you know, with his childhood would work. I can't imagine Joe being an evil prick, unless, you know, now they change the timeline and then magically she becomes okay because I don't know. See what I mean? I think that could be plausible. This is definitely one of my most liked theories amongst the other ones I've told you about, which I like, over Dawn Allen, over Jenny Ognos, over other things I've talked about. So let me know what you think of that as well. The next theory is DeVoe's daughter. Kind of makes sense, I guess. I don't know. The symbols in the book, that, you know, it could be from the future where DeVoe is, you know, brought on the Age of Enlightenment, and, you know, maybe she wants to come back in time to protect her father. And just, you know, maybe even he's in contact with his freaking daughter and they need, you know, the future version of her or something. But either way, it's very timey-wimey. It's like, did DeVoe really raise a daughter? Like, because in this future, did he win? So he could have time to raise a daughter. And that's where all that goes wrong with me. Like, I don't think this theory has much merit to it at all. And I don't really want to talk about it for too long. And the very last theory is that she's the future version of the Earth 3 Speedster that Jay Garrick is now going to train on Earth 3, who is currently a noob. But I don't know about this theory, because I know it's kind of cool, like, it's cool to think that, oh, you know, like, he only mentioned the girl, he didn't mention Jessie, and what other girl do we know who's a mystery, and we don't know the identity of the girl Jay Garrick mentioned, equals mystery girl. Like, I get where people are coming from, but would she really be from a different Earth, who now is getting trained by Jay Garrick? I don't know. Do you see what I mean? I don't see anything that lines up in my head. Like, technically it could be true, but I think that's not as cool as everything else we just talked about. But as I said, guys, like, with the theories that I haven't gone so in depth with, and I haven't really given much of the time of day to, let me know if you disagree with me, or if you think there's more, like, you know, lines to connect the dots in the comment section down below, because I would love to know your freaking thoughts. There is quite a lot of theories, as we've talked about in this video. As I said, I think my favorite one, I've got a list to my right here, is like the earlier version of the Reverse Flash, which I don't necessarily think would work, actually, because, as I said, why would he just come as he looks? So I think it might be the Reverse Flash, you know, who warned Barry about, in the future, about, you know, I wonder what face I'll see you with next time, because he's done it a few times in his past, and one of them was this mystery girl. Like, I don't know. I like that theory. It's not necessarily the most awesome thing, but as I said, I'm not one of the writers, so they would have made it a lot more fluent, I would have hoped, than what I'm explaining it. The other theory I quite like is obviously the Daniel West gender swap one. But apart from that, guys, I would love to know your favorite theories in the comments below of what we have discussed today. If you like this video, I'd really appreciate it if you leave a like on it. And if you're new to this channel, why not subscribe for more videos like this? You can follow me on social media. Links will be popping up on the screen around here. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I hope you have a lovely freaking rest of your day. And I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.